This one habit has completely changed my life, either to boost my productivity, to enhance my personal development, or to make me more disciplined and confident in life. It also helped me to reduce my procrastination and taught me to focus on the work that really mattered to me. Basically, you can say this one habit completely changed me as a person, and it can change you too. And this habit was simply reading these all books and many more for 1 hour a day. Not much, but just 1 hour a day. And that 1 hour of deep reading completely changed my life. So in this video, we'll talk about why reading is important, how can we build reading as a habit, and finally, how to read in such a way that the knowledge that you get sticks for a long period of time. If you're new here, I'm Saumir, so let's jump into the book world. There are so many books just like this Think and Grow Rich, which is written by Napoleon Hill. This book is just around 250 pages long, but the author took more than 20 years to write this book because he deeply researched all the wealthiest people of that time, just like Henry Ford, Andrew Carnegie, and many more, and sum up their whole life experience into just this small book. And this is the single biggest advantage of reading books. You can get access to the minds of great people ever lived. You can get access to their life learnings, experience with just couple of dollars. And the fun part is all these life learnings and experience of those great people can be learned within just a week by reading their books. Now imagine if you read 50 books in a year, then you will be so much ahead than other people who does not read book, because you have 50 life lessons of those people who have succeeded in their life. I've learned a lot of things by reading books. I guess one of the reasons I started this YouTube channel was I used to read a lot of these books, and reading these books gave me courage to start my own thing. There is a book, Sow Your Vote by Austin Kleon. It's a very good book. If I feel like, then I'll make a book review of it one day. But it basically says that you don't need to be great to start something, but you need to start something in order to be great. This book has taught me a lot of things. Just like think about the process, not about the outcome. This book has taught me to enjoy the process and show my work. So I thought, why not start this YouTube channel to show my work? My whole point here is reading books shapes your mentality. It gives you courage to start your own thing. It helps you to think in long term. Rather than thinking like I'll achieve everything in just a year, you start to think in a decade. You start to have much more bigger vision. I think there is only one way to build a habit of anything. Either that's typing fast, habit of spending lots of time in social media, habit of reading books, or waking up early in the morning. All these habits are only formed by one way, and that's repetition. Doing that same thing again and again for a long period of time until it becomes as a habit. Notice yourself, we often have a habit of constantly checking our phones. If we get any free time, then we just hop into it. And that's because of using phone again and again every day, which automatically formed as a habit. So in order to read books effectively, you need to build a habit. And to build a habit, you need repetition, plus you need to dedicate some time to read every day. You don't need to dedicate hours to read books. Just dedicate 15 to 20 minutes a day, but do it every day. Build a system and every day sincerely work on that system. That's it. You don't need to do anything more. Everyone suffers from this disease, forgettives, and I'm a huge victim of it. My brain are like nuts. After I read a book, I forget most of it. And this might happen to you also. When we read a book, then after an hour we forget most of it. Just like this comments. If we could hold some key lessons that we learned from the books, just like these books, then it will be great for us. If we could read these books with much more focus, then that will be even better. If we could remember what is in this all books, then that will be so great. But to be honest, you don't need to remember everything what is in this book. You just need to remember some key lessons that you find valuable. And to remember these key lessons, you need to read books effectively. Don't finish bad books. None of the books are bad. Every book has its own value and its own purpose. But here, bad simply means the book that you don't resonate with. So don't finish those books that you don't resonate with. If you found yourself not getting any valuable information, or if you felt like not continuing reading that book, then throw it away and just hop into the next one. Suppose you are reading this book, 4-Hour Work Week by Tim Ferriss, and you are in the middle of the page. Now after reading this much, you feel like these all portions are not providing any value to you or will not provide any value to you. Then throw this book away and just grab next one and start reading it. Just make reading simple. Don't add toughness in it. Reading is very fun and you should approach it as a fun, especially for non-fiction books. So don't be in a rush to complete a book. If you found yourself not getting any value out of a book, then hop into the next one. Read books that you resonate with. Read books that you love reading. Read books that provide you more value. And try reading more of those books that makes you better every day. But saying that, don't forcefully finish those books that are not providing you any value in your life. Actively engage while reading. Don't only read books just like this. but actively engage while reading books. If you are reading in a Kindle or you have a physical copy just like this, then try using this highlighters, but this one can only be used in a physical copy. For Kindle you have a digital highlighter. Yeah, not everyone knows that, but I personally love to highlight with different colors. So just like blue, there is yellow, orange. So I personally love to highlight with these colors because not only it looks fancier, but I feel like when I highlight with this highlighters, I feel like I'm actively engaging with the book, which generally increases my focus. Plus, highlighting a book becomes very beneficial if you are rereading it. Just like I read this book 3 times, but for the first time I read everything what is in this book. Yeah, there are lots of highlighted word if you can see it. For the first time I read this book completely, but for second and third time I just read what I highlighted in this book. So when you reread the book, it becomes very beneficial when you highlight it. You just can read a highlighted word, which generally saves you a lot of time. And for more active engagement while reading books, try analyzing those key points that the author is trying to explain to you. Talk to yourself and try finding answers by yourself. Develop a reading practice. If you want to read books effectively, then you need to develop a reading practice. It's not like you grabbed a book today and from the next day you'll be good at it. To learn something or to be good at something, it takes time. And to read books effectively, as I said it earlier, you need to form a habit. That is, you need to read books again and again every day. Not much, dedicate sometimes just like 15 minutes, 20 minutes every day, but read it every day, do it every day, and eventually you can increase the time. Don't read too much. It has 2 sections. First, read only up to those chapters that you think is valuable. If you only think 2 pages are valuable in that book, then read only those 2 pages. Don't try to complete the book. Second, don't only read, but also apply your readings in the real world. Rather than only focusing on learning, try to execute your learning in real world to solve real world's problem, because it is said that knowledge without action is just knowledge. So take actions on your knowledge. Just think, there are zillions of people in this world, but why we only hear the names of few of them? Just like Elon Musk, Henry Ford, Andrew Carnegie, Warren Buffett, and many more. There are people who are much more intelligent than these all peoples what I just said you earlier. But why we only remember their names? Why we only hear their names? The answer is they took actions in their learning. They didn't only keep their learnings within themselves, but they took time to execute what they have learned to solve real world problems. And the person who was much more intelligent, much more brilliant than them, and those who did not took risk, end up working for them. To sum up, if you want to grab real world experience, then reading non-fiction books becomes very beneficial. In order to build reading habits, you need to dedicate some time for reading. Not much time, you don't need to read for hours, but just a couple of minutes. As I said, start with 15 minutes and eventually increase the time. And to read books effectively, there are many ways, but in this video we'll only talk about 4. First, don't finish books that are not providing any value to you. Second, don't only read, but actively engage while reading. Try using these highlighters to highlight a book so that you can increase your focus while reading. Plus, highlighting a book becomes very beneficial while rereading it. You can just read the highlighted words while rereading it, which generally saves a lot of your time. Third, don't read just for one day, but read every day. And finally, don't only read, but try applying your readings in real world to solve real world problem. And that's pretty much it. If you have watched till now and found this video valuable, then do hit that like button. It generally boosts the YouTube algorithm. Until next time, keep learning, keep growing.